Summary of Unlimited Power, Tony Robbins. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have a nearly magical ability to turn any challenge into a victory? How do they manage to influence, inspire, and conquer bold goals, while most people can barely move forward? It's not luck or inborn talent. It's learned mental, emotional, and technical skill. And the good news, you can learn it too. In Unlimited Power, Tony Robbins reveals that the key to true transformation lies in mastering your mind and deeply understanding the power of language, both the kind we use with others and the kind we use internally. If you want to take control of your mind, shape your behavior, and achieve extraordinary outcomes, this summary is your starting point. But before we dive into these practical insights, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because here we break down books that turn lives into action plans. Now, let's unlock the unlimited power within you. Picture this. You wake up, look in the mirror, and that inner voice says, "Here comes another hard day." That single sentence triggers a chain of feelings: low energy, doubt, resistance. But what if you could instantly rewire that internal programming, rewriting the narrative of your mind using proven techniques? That's what Tony Robbins teaches. Through neurolinguistic programming, a scientific method to reprogram limiting beliefs and install patterns of excellence. At the heart of the book is the concept that success leaves clues. If you model the attitudes, thought patterns, and physiology of top achievers, you too can get outstanding results. This technique is called modeling elite performers, and it's used by Olympic athletes, world-class CEOs, and even heads of state. Tony explains how to build positive mental conditioning using what he calls anchoring yourself to success, emotional triggers that link feelings of confidence, focus, or strength to specific stimuli. This way, you can enter your peak state whenever you need it, without depending on motivation or mood. But it's not just about positive thinking. Robbins introduces the ultimate success formula, a framework to turn your desires into clear goals, followed by measurable actions and relentless focus on outcomes. It involves deciding exactly what you want, taking massive action, constantly reviewing your results, and adjusting until you succeed. One of the most powerful transformation triggers is this: physiology. How you move, breathe, and carry yourself directly impacts your emotional state. Small physical changes like standing tall, breathing deeply, or moving with energy can shift your mental state in seconds. Perhaps the most profound insight in this part of the book is this: it's not the events that shape your life, but the meaning you give them. That's a golden key to owning your reality. Change the meaning, and you change the emotion. Change the emotion, and you change the action. Optimized insights: the brain responds to internal commands as if they were real. Master your inner language. Physiology and emotion are linked. Change your body, change your mental state. Modeling successful people is a shortcut to achieving the results you desire most. And if all this sounds too good to be true, just wait until you see how. Tony Robbins uses these tools to change lives in minutes, right in front of massive crowds. In the next part, you'll discover how rapid reprogramming really works and how to apply it in critical moments like emotional breakdowns, tough decisions, and mental blocks. Stick around. If your mind were a computer, what kind of software would it be running right now? Outdated code, full of errors and fears? Or a cutting-edge system designed for bold decisions, peak focus, and emotional mastery? The truth is that most people live on mental autopilot, running scripts installed during childhood or past trauma and never questioning them. But Tony Robbins shows us that we can reprogram our internal software and take full control of how we think, feel, and act. This is where the power of neurolinguistic programming becomes real. Robbins explains that our brain is like a sponge. It absorbs experiences and creates meaning, but often in flawed ways. For example, a failure at Age 7 can become a deep-rooted belief that you're not good enough, and that belief may still be shaping your decisions today. To fix this, Tony teaches the pattern interrupt, a powerful technique where you disrupt the mental loop that leads to negative behaviors. Imagine someone always getting nervous before public speaking. By changing the posture, breath, and inner dialogue at the exact moment the fear begins, they break the pattern and rewrite it with confidence and calm. This is one of Robbins' most practical insights. Emotion has structure. Every feeling you have follows a sequence: what you see, what you say to yourself, how you breathe, how you move. And if you change the structure, you change the feeling. This is the real science behind changing your state on command. And the best part? It's trainable. You can practice this mental flexibility daily by becoming aware of your internal representations. The images, sounds, and words that play in your mind. Are they disempowering or empowering? Do they lift you or crush you? Another golden tool Tony presents is submodalities, the tiny details of how you represent experiences in your mind. For example, a scary memory may appear big, close, and loud in your imagination. Shrink it, push it farther away. Turn down the volume, and the fear dissolves. It sounds simple, but it's deeply neurological. What Robbins wants you to understand is that change doesn't take time. It takes a decision. Once your nervous system learns a new pattern and sees its effect, it upgrades itself. Your job is to give it that upgrade. And if you're thinking, this sounds complicated, remember, this is the difference between feeling stuck and taking control of your life. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be aware and willing to act. That's where transformation starts. Optimized. Insights: your brain runs scripts, you can rewrite them. Emotional states follow a structure, interrupt the pattern to change the outcome. Small internal changes like visual size, color, sound can shift your entire feeling. And if you're starting to see how powerful this is, hit that like button now and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Because in the next section, we'll explore how your beliefs, the invisible rules that run your life, are shaping your identity, your relationships, and even your income. And the way Robbins teaches you to change those beliefs is as fast as flipping a switch. Have you ever stopped to question the beliefs that quietly guide your every move? Those invisible rules that say what you can and cannot do, who you should be, and what's possible for your life. Tony Robbins exposes the uncomfortable truth. Most people live imprisoned by beliefs they never consciously chose. From the moment we're born, we absorb beliefs from our parents, teachers, media, and early experiences. Money is the root of all evil. I'm not creative. Relationships always end in pain. These statements may sound harmless, but once accepted by your subconscious, they become commands, shaping your choices, limiting your dreams, and defining your identity. Robbins reveals that a belief is nothing more than a feeling of certainty about something, and that certainty can be manufactured. Think about it. You may believe you're bad at math because of one test you failed in school. That belief formed not because it's true, but because your emotion at that moment was strong. The brain tagged it as real and never questioned it again. So how do you break free from limiting beliefs? Robbins offers a powerful three-step method. 1. Identify the belief holding you back. 2. Interrupt the emotional pattern that reinforces it. 3. Install a new, empowering belief with strong emotional reinforcement. Let's say your belief is, I'll never be successful because I didn't go to college. First, recognize that this is not a fact, it's a narrative. Then, challenge it by recalling people who succeeded without a degree. Feel their energy. Imagine their mindset. Visualize yourself stepping into that identity. The brain is highly responsive to emotion and imagery. Use both to rewrite your story. Here's the kicker. The brain doesn't care if a belief is true. It only cares if it's consistent and emotionally charged. That's why fear and trauma often form our strongest beliefs. But that also means you can create new beliefs that serve your goals if you use repetition, intensity, and visualization. This is where incantations come in. Unlike affirmations, which are often weak and passive, incantations involve full-body emotional engagement. You say the empowering belief out loud with movement, breath, and conviction. For example, every day, in every way, I'm becoming stronger, smarter, and more unstoppable. Repeated daily with emotion. This rewires your nervous system. Robbins also emphasizes the power of identity. You'll never outperform your self-image. If you see yourself as shy, broke, lazy, or unlucky, no amount of motivation will override that. But when you upgrade your identity, your actions align naturally. The phrase, "I'm not that kind of person," becomes, "That's who I am." Now, and remember, you don't need years of therapy to shift. Sometimes, a single insight delivered with emotional force can change everything. Robbins calls these transformational moments where the old belief cracks and a new one emerges, like lightning. Optimized insights beliefs are emotional patterns, not facts. You can create empowering beliefs with repetition and emotion. Identity is destiny. Change who you think you are, and your actions will follow. If this part made something click inside you, don't leave without subscribing to the channel and hitting like. Because what comes next might be the most powerful section yet. We'll go deep into the psychology of taking massive action, the missing link that turns dreams into real, tangible results. You won't want to miss it. Have you ever known exactly what to do, but still didn't do it? You had the plan, the tools, the opportunity, and yet something stopped you. That something is the invisible wall between knowledge and execution. And for Tony Robbins, massive action is the bridge that changes everything. It's not enough to know. It's not enough to want. Results only happen when intention meets action, consistent, bold, uncomfortable action. But here's the psychological twist. Most people wait to feel ready. They wait for confidence, clarity, or the perfect moment. Robbins shows that this mindset is backwards. Action comes first, confidence comes after. Think of the gym. Nobody feels like going every day, but the ones who show up despite the feeling, they build discipline. And discipline creates momentum. Momentum, Robbins says, is the force that carries you through resistance, self-doubt, and fear. But what really drives massive action? According to Robbins, it's two things: leverage and standards. Let's talk about leverage. Humans move when pain becomes unbearable or pleasure becomes irresistible. If you link massive pain to staying where you are and massive pleasure to changing, your brain will demand action. That's how Robbins helped people quit smoking, lose weight, or change careers in a single session. He helped them link new meaning to their behaviors. For example, someone might logically know they need to stop smoking, but logic doesn't move them. When they see their child coughing or imagine not being there for a future graduation, the emotional leverage kicks in, and change becomes non-negotiable. Now, let's talk about standards. Robbins says we don't get what we want, we get what we tolerate. If you've ever said, "I should lose weight," or "I should save more money," notice the language "should" doesn't move people. "Must" does. When you raise your standards, your behavior upgrades automatically. That's why Robbins pushes you to define who you are and what you will no longer tolerate. When your identity shifts, your standards follow. And when your standards rise, your actions elevate, not because it's hard, but because it's who you are now. Here's where it gets practical. Robbins teaches the RPM method, a system for turning action into a daily habit. R stands for result. What do you want, specifically? P is purpose. Why do you want it emotionally, spiritually, physically? M is massive action plan. What steps will get you there? starting today. This isn't a to-do list, it's a focus list. It filters your day by outcome, not activity, because most people are busy, but not productive. They check boxes, but don't move the needle. RPM forces clarity and urgency. Robbins also emphasizes the power of rituals. What you do consistently, you become. He suggests morning routines that include visualization, gratitude, movement, and goal review. These prime the brain for high performance, keeping you emotionally aligned and focused. And when obstacles appear, because they will, you don't shrink, you adapt. Robbins trains the mindset that asks, what else can this mean? And what else can I do? This is called transformational vocabulary, and it rewires your emotional state in seconds. Problems become puzzles. Setbacks become signals. You stay in motion. Optimized insights action must come before confidence, not the other way around. Leverage pain. Pleasure creates emotional urgency to change. Raising standards changes behavior automatically. RPM method aligns purpose with focused action. Rituals prime your brain for peak performance. If you've ever felt stuck in preparation, perfectionism, or procrastination, this part was made for you. But the next one will close the loop completely, showing how to lock these changes into your identity so they become permanent. Don't miss it. Here's the truth. Tony Robbins doesn't sugarcoat. Most people won't change, not because they can't, but because they won't. Decide. In this final part of Unlimited Power, Robbins reveals the difference between wishing for change and committing to it with every cell of your being. Change isn't something you wait for. It's something you create with urgency, clarity, and consistency. And that creation begins when you decide, deeply and irrevocably, that you're old. Story is no longer acceptable. Your excuses, your past, your environment, they might explain where you are, but they do not define where you're going. Robbins teaches that all transformation starts with a new identity. You must see yourself not as someone trying to change, but as someone who already lives in alignment with a higher standard. That identity shift rewires your thoughts, your language, and eventually, your destiny. So how do you install this new identity? It begins with conditioning. Just like the body, your mind needs reps. Visualization, affirmations, immersion in empowering environments. These are the weights you lift for the brain. Robbins himself conditioned his mind daily through physical intensity, declarations, and massive repetition, because he knew repetition is the mother of skill. But even with a strong identity and daily conditioning, there's one more secret: contribution. Robbins explains that true fulfillment doesn't come from achieving more, it comes from giving more. From lead skier, from reed. From reed skier, from reed skier, from root skier, holy kiss. Only Ruby Kiss has the luxurious texture that glides on smoothly. And reed skier, long-last il-q long-last explains. The YMAC type, Robbins explains that re-y/pre-segs, we celesize to us. We subsize PD, my consibe, el balis gade, my subbisu my lie, qua brights gade, with lie it's sid. We suck at a psycho you less but I bisa bits it bit it likes it to kai silats it's just cute the sit it's good the sis is acidic it's the back because it but it's the licks it is turning your breakthroughs into tools for others. From shifting the question from what can I get to who can I help? This is the paradox. The more you give, the more powerful you feel. Contribution cements growth because it forces you to embody your values consistently. You can't preach discipline without living it. You can't lead others unless you've led yourself. Robbins calls this the ultimate edge, the combination of identity, conditioning, and contribution. When you live from this place, your energy becomes contagious. Your focus becomes unshakable. Your life becomes a message. And here's a final insight. Your environment must reflect your evolution. If you want to live powerfully, surround yourself with people, ideas, and experiences that pull the best out of you. Eliminate tolerations. Audit your influences. Curate your mental diet with the same precision you'd use for your physical health. 'Cause, in the end, it's not about motivation. It's about momentum. And momentum comes from doing the right things the right way every single day, even when it's hard. Even when no one's watching. Even when no one claps. Optimized Insights change begins the moment you fully reject your old story. Identity shift is the foundation of lasting transformation. Mental conditioning is daily. Repetition creates belief. Contribution transforms personal growth into impact. Environment must support the new version of yourself. So now that you've walked through the most powerful concepts of unlimited power, there's only one thing left to do. Decide who you are and act like it every single day. No more waiting. No more someday. Your time is now, eh? And before you go, if this message lit something inside you, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We bring you content designed to push your limits, awaken your strength, and guide your transformation. And don't stop here. Check out the other book, breakdowns and training insights to keep building your personal power. Your next level ice, waiting.